Welcome to Top 2 Day. Today, we're diving into 7 shocking real-life stories. Not just told, but shown with actual footage and evidence you don't usually see. Some movies say, based on true events. But these 7, they're based on real stories so unbelievable and absurd that if there wasn't proof, no one would believe they actually happened. You'll also see real stories and actual footage, so spoilers are definitely possible. This isn't just a regular movie list. These films range from funny and unbelievable to dark and terrifying. Yet all of them are based on confirmed real-life events. But before we begin, if you like content like this, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This is a new format, so I hope you like it. Let's go.
And then most likely you'll have to spend the night. Or I could strip search you here.
Compliance, 2012. Let me tell you something insane. On April 9th, 2004, a man made a phone call to a McDonald's in Mount Washington, Kentucky. He claimed to be a police officer. He told the manager, Donna Summers, that one of her employees, Louise Ogborn, had stolen money from a customer. He gave her name, her description, and Donna believed every word as well as other employees. Yeah, seriously. Just think about it. A strict manager, a handful of obedient employees, and they all fall for something that sounds completely insane in hindsight. The officer told Donna to detain Louise in the back office. Then he instructed her to strip search the girl. She did. Then he said she needed to be watched. So she called in her fiancé to supervise the girl. And this is where it gets darker. Walter obeyed every instruction from the voice on the phone. He made Louise do jumping jacks naked, sit unclothed for hours, and eventually assaulted her, while being guided step by step by a total stranger. No badge, no paperwork, just a voice on the phone, and they obeyed. This wasn't a one-time thing. Over 70 similar calls were made to fast food restaurants across the US. Same script, same results, but the Mount Washington case was the worst. In 2012, director Craig Zobel turned this exact story into a film called Compliance. It doesn't exaggerate anything. There are no dramatic twists, because the real story is already too unbelievable to need fiction. And as you watch it, you keep thinking, no way, no one would ever fall for this. But then you remember, they already did. The Act, 2019. Let me tell you about one of the most disturbing true crime cases in modern history. It involves a mother, a daughter, and a lie so massive it controlled an entire life. From the outside, Dee Dee Blanchard looked like a devoted single mom. Her daughter, Gypsy Rose, was wheelchair-bound, had leukemia, muscular dystrophy, and a long list of other conditions. They were local celebrities. Charity organizations donated, people helped pay their bills. Even Habitat for Humanity built them a house. But none of it was real. Gypsy could walk. She didn't have cancer. Most of her illnesses were completely made up by her mother. Dee Dee had a condition called Munchausen syndrome by proxy. She intentionally made her daughter sick or pretended she was to gain sympathy, attention, and money. For over a decade, Gypsy lived under her mother's control. Drugged, manipulated, isolated from the world, she wasn't allowed to go to school or speak freely or even think for herself. Until one day, Gypsy met a guy online and the two of them came up with a plan. He traveled to her house and murdered Dee Dee while Gypsy hid in the bathroom. Then they ran away together. It didn't take long for police to find them, and the truth came out. And when it did, people weren't sure who the real victim was anymore. This is the story behind The Act, a chilling series released by Hulu in 2019. It stars Joey King and Patricia Arquette, who won an Emmy for her performance. And if you didn't know it was real, you'd swear it was the most twisted fictional drama you've ever seen. But it happened, and the footage, the interviews, the photos, they all exist. Because sometimes, real life writes the darkest scripts of all.
What you're saying is that you were a psychic spy.
A Jedi warrior.
The Men Who Stare at Goats, 2009. Let's switch gears, but just slightly. This next story might sound hilarious at first, until you realize it's actually based on official US military documents. Yes, the US Army really had a program that tried to create psychic soldiers. Back in the 1970s and 80s, a secretive unit called the 1st Earth Battalion was formed. Its mission: use paranormal abilities in warfare. We're talking about stuff like walking through walls, becoming invisible, reading minds, and yes, killing goats just by staring at them. They believed that with enough mental focus, a soldier could stop a goat's heart. Seriously, this was part of a broader attempt to explore New Age military tactics, and it went way further than you'd think. Decades later, journalist John Ronson uncovered this bizarre story and wrote a book titled The Men Who Stare at Goats. In 2009, it became a film starring George Clooney, Ewan McGregor, Jeff Bridges, and Kevin Spacey. The movie plays it as a dark comedy, and honestly, it kind of had to, because if it took itself too seriously, no one would believe a word of it. But the documents are real, the interviews are real, and yes, there were goats. Lots of goats, and none of them died from telekinesis.
I'm going to Vietnam, and I'm bringing a beer!
The Greatest Beer Run Ever, 2022. Now here's a story that sounds like a made-up feel-good comedy, but no, it actually happened. It's 1967. The Vietnam War is raging. Back in New York, 26-year-old Chicky Donahue is hanging out at his local bar. He's frustrated, hearing everyone complain about the war while soldiers are dying overseas. So Chicky, a merchant seaman, decides to do something utterly insane. He packs a duffel bag full of beer and boards a cargo ship headed for Vietnam. His mission? Personally deliver cold beers to his friends fighting on the front lines. No joke, this guy literally snuck into an active war zone with no weapons, no plan, just cans of Pabst Blue Ribbon, all to give his buddies a taste of home. He actually found them too. One by one, in different units and regions, Chicky tracked down his friends and cracked open a cold one with them in the middle of a jungle while bullets were flying. Of course, he quickly realized war wasn't just something you heard about on the news. It was brutal, real, and nothing like he imagined. The whole thing became a legendary bar story for decades until Chicky's memoir was published. And in 2022, Peter Farrelly, yes, the guy behind Green Book, turned it into a film starring Zac Efron and Russell Crowe. It's part road trip, part war drama, part absurd comedy, but all of it is true. And if it weren't, you'd think it was the dumbest movie pitch ever. But sometimes, the dumbest ideas make the best stories.
How about we just start with your name?
My name is Edward Joseph Snowden.
Snowden, 2016. This one is the scariest movie on the list. You ask why? Because it's not about isolated horrors happening to just one person or even a small group. It's about you, your phone, your camera, your data. In 2013, Edward Snowden, a young NSA contractor, leaked one of the most explosive sets of classified documents in U.S. history. What he revealed shocked the world. The U.S. government wasn't just spying on terrorists or foreign enemies. They were collecting data from millions of ordinary people, phone records, emails, browsing history, webcam feeds, even your private conversations, vacuumed up and stored in massive surveillance systems. Snowden knew this was wrong, so he took a flash drive, left the country, and handed the truth to journalists. At that moment, he became either a hero or a traitor, depending on who you ask. Oliver Stone's Snowden, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, tells this story like a thriller. But the craziest part? It's all real. Everything you see in the film, from the code names to the surveillance programs, is based on actual leaked documents. And once you watch it, you start to look at your phone a little differently. You cover your webcam. You wonder, who else is watching?
Where you are in life. I mean, look at us, man. Like Superman. I mean, come on! Don't you think we deserve better? 'Cause I do.
Pain and Gain, 2013. This story is one of the funniest and least funny at the same time, because once you stop laughing, you realize it actually happened and someone paid the price. In the mid-90s, 3 bodybuilders from Miami decided they were done being nobodies. They wanted the American dream: money, status, power, and they were willing to do anything to get it. Led by Daniel Lugo, a charismatic personal trainer with big dreams and zero morals, they formed a plan to kidnap a wealthy gym client and force him to sign over all his assets. And somehow it worked. Also, in real life, they tried to kidnap him 7 times before they finally succeeded. At first, they tortured him, starved him, faked his signature, stole his mansion, cars, and bank accounts. Then, when they were done, they tried to kill him, except he survived. But instead of going to the police, the victim, Mark Schiller, hired a private investigator, because the story was too insane for anyone to believe. And honestly, it gets even crazier from there. There were more schemes, more kidnappings, and eventually, murder. This is the true story behind Pain and Gain, directed by Michael Bay and released in 2013. It stars Mark Wahlberg, Dwayne Johnson, and Anthony Mackie as the muscle-bound criminals. And while the movie leans into absurd comedy and over-the-top action, the core of it, all true. The real case was brutal, bizarre, and tragic. Proof that truth really can be stranger and dumber than fiction.
Emily?
The Exorcism of Emily Rose, 2005. Now this one's different. It's not just a horror movie. It's a courtroom drama based on a real exorcism. Back in the 1970s, a young German woman named Anneliese Michel began experiencing strange and terrifying symptoms. She saw demonic faces, heard voices, screamed uncontrollably, and despite psychiatric treatment, things only got worse. Her deeply religious family became convinced she wasn't mentally ill, but possessed. After years of suffering, 2 priests were granted permission by the Catholic Church to perform an exorcism, not once, but 67 times over the course of 10 months. Eventually, Annalisa died. She was just 23 years old, malnourished, exhausted, covered in bruises. And this is where the movie picks up, because after her death, the priests and her parents were put on trial, charged with negligent homicide. The film, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, released in 2005, takes this terrifying real case and tells it through a courtroom lens, blurring the lines between faith, science, and responsibility. Did she die from a medical condition or something darker? The movie never gives a clear answer, and that's what makes it so chilling. Because sometimes the scariest stories aren't the ones with monsters and jump scares. They're the ones where belief and reality collide, and no one walks away clean. And yes, Annalisa's real exorcism audio exists. It's out there, if you're brave enough to listen. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. If these stories shocked you, just wait. We have plenty more wild, unbelievable true stories coming your way. Which one surprised you the most? This is a new format, so I hope you can drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more deep dives into real stories. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Also, I forgot to mention, all the movie names are in the comments, so feel free to check them out. That was Top 2 Day. See you soon with more insane true stories.